Good evening, Rohan. Okay. Hope all of you have gone through the previous class topic. That is the crystal structure. Yes. In that we discussed some of the terms there. Say, first one is we discussed about the effective number of atoms. Yes, effective number of atoms. And next is coordination number. What is that coordination number? Definition of coordination number? Number of neighboring atoms, isn't it? Or number of nearby atoms. Yes, right. And next we learned another factor named as APF. What is the definition for that? Yeah, number of neighboring atoms at the same distance. Yes, right. That is coordination number. What is APF then? Yes. Yes, good evening, Saurav. We are just recollecting the previous class topic. We reached up to APF. Okay. Atomic volume to volume of unit cell. Yeah, right. That is volume of atoms in the unit cell. Volume of atoms in the unit cell divided by volume of unit cell. Okay. So that is the definition for APF. And next is, so these are the things we discussed. And then one more thing is also there, relationship between A and R. A and R. What is A? In simple word, how can you say? Yes, good evening, Rohat. In, yes, interplanar spacing. Yes, right. That is a lattice parameter. Yes, interplanar spacing. A, B, C. Both, all the three are same for a cubic cell. Hence, it is written as A. What is R there? The radius of the atom. Okay. And we consider the volume of atom as volume of volume of yes, sphere. Okay. So we learned in the previous class we learned the simple cubic structure, body centered cubic structure, and phase centered cubic structure. Effective number of atoms in the case of a simple cubic. Yes. Yeah, Pradeep already gave me the values of the A and R. Okay, yeah. Simple cubic structure, effective number of atoms is yes, that is equal to 1. How I got that? 1 by 8 into, that is 8 unit cells are shared by, sorry, 8 atoms are shared by 8 unit cells. Hence 1. VCC for effective number of atoms. Yeah, Pradeep says that it is 2. Yeah, yes, we know that it is 2. That is, one body center atom is there, that is shared by only 1 unit cell. Hence it is 2. For a phase centered cubic structure, how many is the effective number of atoms? Each phase atoms are shared by, yes, 1 unit cell, sorry, 2 unit cell, and 6 phase atoms are there. 6 into 1 by 2. Okay, so hence 4. Right. Coordination number of a simple cubic structure. Yes, Pradeep says that it is 6. Yes, on the same plane 4 is there, top and bottom 2 is there. Hence 6. In the case of a body centered cubic structure, what is the coordination number? Yeah, so Rohan and Pradeep says that it is 8. Yeah, that is, we are taking the middle atom at the to check the coordination number. Top 4 is there, bottom 4 is there, hence 8. In the case of FCC, how much is the coordination number? Yes, 12 is there. Yeah, that is on the same. That is, we are taking the phase atom, and if we take the phase atom, top the 4 atoms are there, on the same plane 4 atoms are there, bottom plane 4 atoms are there, hence 12. Next is APF in the case of simple cubic. Yes, 0.52. In the case of a body center, yes, 0.68. Yes, in the case of a FCC structure, yes, 0.74. Yes, and in the case of the relation between A and R, in the case of a simple cubic, yes, the relation between A and R, yes, A equals to 2R. In the case of a body centered cubic structure, A equal 4R by root 3. Yes, since B is there, opposite of that, isn't it? And another one is what? Yes, 4R by root 2 will come, isn't it? 4R by root 2. So these are the things we discussed. And I told you that one more structure also we have to learn, that is hexagonal closed practice. Let us discuss that. So we know that hexagonal closed structure, in that case, what shall be the shape of the unit cell? What shall be the shape of unit cell? Is it the form of a cube? No. It is in the form of hexagonal prism. Hexagonal prism. Okay. So question is, what is the shape of end faces? End faces. End faces means base faces. What is the shape of base faces? Yes, hexagon. Hexagon. Hexagonal base faces are there. How many base faces are there? 2 base faces are there. So that is clear to us. How many lateral faces are there? That means side faces. How many lateral faces are there? Yes, 6 lateral faces are there. The shape is what? Yes, rectangle. So these things are known to us. No, not that is a. In this case, we learned that A equal to B. Is it equal to C? No, isn't it? A is equal to B, but not equal to C. Hence, it can't be a square. Got it? It will be a rectangle. Fine. Yeah, height is deferred. Hence, it will become a rectangle. Okay, fine. Now, I am going to draw a hexagonal prism. Okay. And the top faces I am going to name this A1, A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash, E dash, and F dash. And the bottom faces A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay. Listen carefully. I put a center dot there. That is the middle point. Okay. The distance between A dash B dash or AB and B dash C dash and or BC, will it be same? A B is equal to A dash B dash is equal to B dash C dash. Can I write? Yes. We know that. We know that A equal B. Yes. So that is okay. Now I draw a line joining the middle point like this. Okay. Okay. Then what shall be the length of OB dash and OA dash? In the case of a hexagon, that OB dash OA dash is equal to A dash B dash. Is it clear to all? O dash B dash and OA dash O dash A dash. Sorry, O A dash. That is equal to A dash B dash itself. That means this length is also equal to what? This length is also equal to A itself. A equals B equals A. So that A itself is that length. Okay, keep it in mind. Next is, I am going to divide this hexagonal prism into 3 tetrahedrons. That means 3 4-sided figures. Tetrahedron. Tetrahedron, you know that. What is the speciality? A equal to B, not equal to C. That is the speciality. Am I right? What about the angles? Yes, angles remain the same. Yes. alpha equals beta equals gamma equals 10 degrees. How many tetrahedrons I can generate it over here? Okay, let me take another color. So check this green line. I throw this O dash B dash and O dash F dash. Next is O dash B dash. Similarly, at the bottom, here it is O dash. At the bottom it is O. OB is joined, OF is joined, and OD is joined. I join OO dash. What you can see there? This is one tetrahedron. Second one is this one. Third one is this one. Am I right? The first tetrahedron is OBAF and O dash B dash A dash F dash. Am I right? These are the three tetrahedrons. One tetrahedron. Like that, three tetrahedrons are there. Clear to all? I divide the hexagonal prisms into three tetrahedrons. Now, thing is, I am going to draw the body diagonal for each tetrahedron. That is, join this A and O. Join this A and O. At the middle of that, I place one atom. What is that atom? That is one body-centered atom, right? Yeah, Rohan, I shall repeat. Wait. Yeah. I shall repeat, Rohan, don't worry. Okay. Next is, and then I am going to join C and O dash. That is the body diagonal. And place another one. That means each tetrahedron's body center carries what? One body-centered atom. Got it? So that is one set of atoms. The body center, there exists how many number of atoms? 3 atoms are there. And shared by how many unit cells? Shared by how many unit cells? Only one unit cell. Saurav, only one hexagonal unit cell. Isn't it? Can this be shared by any other hexagonal unit cell? No, it can't be shared by any other unit cell, right? Okay, so that is one set. Then, just we have seen in the cubic cell, the corner atoms are also placed at the coordinates. Say A dash, B dash, C dash, like that. How many corner atoms are there? Yeah. Is it only 6? 12 corner atoms are there at the top as well as bottom. Got it? At the top as well as bottom. Is it clear to all? Only few responses are here. Top as well as bottom. 12 corner atoms are there. Yes. Question is. Okay, fine. Question is. How many hexagonal unit cells share each corner atom? Then only we can find out the effective number. Is it 8 here? No, it is not 8. Pradeep says that it is 6. What about others' opinion? Let us check. Take this F for study purpose. This atom for study purpose. Okay. I draw another hexagon like this. Okay. Another hexagon is drawn. And next another hexagon is also drawn. Okay. So this is shared by how many hexagons there? You can see 1, 2, and 3. These hexagons can grow towards upwards and as well as towards bottom. Am I right? Hence how many? 3 towards the top and 3 towards the bottom. Shared what? 1 corner atom. Got it? Total of 12 corner atoms are there. Shared by how many unit cells? 6 unit cells. What is the number there? 2. Clear to all? So I got 3 body center atoms. Then corner atom, and then one more atom is also there. That is placed at the end faces. How many end faces are there? How many end faces are there? Yes, two end faces are there. Yes, one is placed here and other one is placed here. Question is, these end faces atoms are shared by how many unit cells? Yes, yes, we know that. Yes, one more unit cell is also coming over here, isn't it? So that means two unit cells shares the end faces atom. Okay, so 2 into 1 by 2. Number is what? 1. So what is the total number of atoms, effective number of atoms in the case of a hexagonal cross structure? 6. Yes. Now, I shall tell you discuss this topic with the help of the slide so that it will be much more clear. Yeah, yes, yes. Don't worry, Rohan, I shall explain it once again. Yes, you can see here, this one is the hexagonal structure. You can see that the corner atoms are placed. Top 6 is there, bottom 6 is there. Yes, that you can see that this is divided into 1, 2, and 3 tetrahedron. One of the tetrahedron is taken outside. And you can see that at the center of this tetrahedron, one atom is placed. That is only for this hexagon unit cell. Nobody can share that. Hence, 3 body-centered atoms are also there. 12 corner atoms are there. And 2 end-faced atoms are also there. Is it clear to all? Yes. Next is, we have to check the effective number of atoms. For that, we have to check the corner atoms are shared by how many unit cells. Yes, we got that. Yes, this corner atom is shared by 6 unit cells. So 12 corner atoms are there, 12 into 1 by 6. Next is plus 2 end faces atoms are there. That also you know that these 2 end faces atoms are shared by 2 unit cells. So 1 by 2 plus we know that 3 body-centered atoms are there, shared by 1 unit cell, 1 by 1. Hence, the total effective number of atoms is equal to 6. Clear? Yes, fine. Yes, fine. Now we can go through the another topic. What is that? What is the next term? We find out the effective number. What is the next term? Heading? Yeah, coordination number. Okay, let us check. We have to take the end phase atom. End phase atom is taken. How many atoms are near to this one? Yes, we know that. On the same plane, 6 corner atoms are there, isn't it? 6 corner atoms are there. Yes, the 6 corner atoms are nearby. Okay. And next is what? Yeah. How many body-centered atoms are there? 3 body-centered atoms are there, isn't it? 3 body-centered atoms are there. Can you just anything more? Yeah, Saurav, please ask. Please refresh your page, Saurav. Do it first. Saurav, please refresh. Okay, fine. Next is similarly. See, this is for 1 unit cell, right? This is for 1 unit cell. Similarly, next unit cell also is there, isn't it? Similarly, on the towards the top, another unit cell is there. For that, what is there nearby to this end phase atom? Yes, the body-centered atom of the second unit cell is there. Am I right? So 3 body-centered atoms of the second unit cell is near to this one, and 3 body-centered atoms of the first unit cell is near to this one, and 6 corner atoms are near to this one. Hence, total is what? 12. Yes, once again. Saurav, is it clear now? Saurav, can you see it? Yeah, okay. See here, one end phase atom is there. On the same plane, 6 is there. 6 corner atom. Fine. Or towards the bottom, how many body centered atoms? 3 body centered atoms are there. Okay. It is not over. Because we have to consider the second unit cell also. Yes. How many body centered atoms? Yes, 3 body centered atoms. So total count is how much? 3 plus 6 plus 3, 12. Is this value have you seen anywhere? Yeah, for the FCC also the same number, right? Yes. Next is what? Next heading is what? Yeah, APF, atomic packing factor. Okay. Definition we know. Volume of atoms in the unit cell divided by volume of unit cell. Here we have to find out the volume of unit cell first because it is a hexagonal prism there. Okay. Let us find out that volume of unit cell. So here I draw the here hexagon. How many triangles formulate this hexagon? 6 triangles, right? Okay. And all these triangles are what type of triangles? All are equilateral triangles. What is that? Yes, that means all the edges are same. That is, this is A, this is A, this is A. Okay. How many right triangles are there for each equilateral triangle? If you draw a line like this, having a length h, then you can see 2 right triangles are there. Isn't it? 12 right triangles are there. Am I right? Okay. What is the area of a right triangle? Area of a right triangle. Half into base into altitude. Yeah, that equation is known to us. Fine. That is half into, what is the base dimension here? What is the base dimension here? Yeah, it is not A. It is half of A, isn't it? A by 2, isn't it? So base dimension is A by 2. What is, okay, H we don't know. We simply write H. Like that. How many triangles are there for to find out the area of hexagon? Area of hexagon, I want to find out. So you have to multiply with how much? With the 12. Okay. So what is the answer? Yeah, 3AH. Once again, we know that area of the right triangle is half into base into altitude. That is the area of the right triangle. Here we know that 12 right triangles are there. 12 right triangles are there. So I want to find out the area of hexagon with the help of these right triangles. So that is half into base into altitude into 12. So the base dimension I want to find out. The total length is what? A. So this total length is divided into 2 right triangles. Hence the base dimension is half into A by 2. Altitude. That is, I assumed that altitude height as h. Okay, so that is h into 12. Hence I got 3AH. Up to this clear to all? Okay, fine. Okay. Yes, yes. Next is up to this clear. Now we are going to find out a value for this h. It is not fair to see that in h. We have to change that value in terms of what? A or R, isn't it? Then only we can solve it. So we have to convert this in the form of A. Let us check. So I take one of the right triangle. This is the section, and we know that this is H there. This is A. This is A by 2, and this is the 90-degree point. How can I find out the value of H then? We know that, yes, hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus altitude square, right? The Pythagoras theorem we have to apply. Yes, base square is hypotenuse square is what here? A square. Base square is what here? Yes, A by 2 the whole square. Yes, plus altitude square is what? H square. Yes, from this we can find out the value of H square. Please give me the value of H. Yes, root 3a. That is the answer given by Saurav. Let's check that. H square is equal to a square minus a square by 2. That is, I take this to this side. So what is the answer then? That is a square by 2 is the answer, isn't it? So H is equal to what? Am I right? Yes. H is equal to what? A by root 2. Any problem? Any problem? Can you find out? Problem is there. Can you find out? Root 3a by 2. Please check out the problem. There I have made a mistake there. Yes, here you see that a by 2 the whole square, right? I simply write here as a square by 2. I told you that most of the students are making the mistake like that. Here what is the thing there? A square by 4. A square by 4. Got it? Okay. Yes. So here what is the answer then? Three a square by 4. Am I right? 3a square by 4. Then what is the value of h then? H is equal to a root 3 by 2. Clear one? Okay. So I got the value of h is equal to a root 3 by 2. So what is the next step? What is the next step? I got the value of h. I got the value of h. Yes, we have to substitute this value of h in the hexagon area. Yes, we already find out the area. A is equal to, yeah, right. What Biraji said is right. That is 3ah. That is 3 into a into h. A into h is what? A root 3 by 2. Okay. So hence I got that as 3a square root 3 by 2. That is the answer. Okay. Next is what? Is it sufficient for my getting me the APF? No, we have to find out the volume there, isn't it? We have to find out the volume there. What is the volume? What is the definition of volume? P is equal to area into height. Height is taken as P there. Am I right? That is 3a square root 3 by 2 multiplied with P. And next is you have to by heart one value. C is equal to, in terms of A, we have to find out one value. 1.63 times of A. C is 1.63 times of A. So that is 3a square root 3 by 2 into 1.63 times A. So this is what, this is the volume of hexagon. Volume of hexagon. Yeah. Rohan asked me, what is C? No need to derive that expression because this derivation becomes lengthier. That's why it cuts short. Need to write only the value of C in terms of A. You can skip that derivation. Got it? Because otherwise this equation with this expression, this derivation will be somewhat lengthy. It seems to be difficult for you. That's why I cut short. C is equal to 1.63 times of A. That you have tried. The volume of hexagon I got, that is 3A square root 3 by 2 multiplied with C. What is C there? C is the height of that prism. Isn't it? Ultimately, we want to find out the volume of that prism, isn't it? So we got the area. Next is multiply with the height. That is C. A, B, and C. C parameter. That we have to write in terms of A. That is 1.63 times of A. That's all. Clear one? So now our volume is ready. Next is we have to find out the relationship between A and R. Okay. The relationship between A and R. Is that the volume is 4.3 A cube or 3 root 3 by 2 into 1.63 A cube. That is the volume. When you multiply that, you will get that sum. Maybe that. Okay. Now, we have to find out the relationship between A and R. Yes. What is the relationship between A and R in the case of a simple cubic? A is equal to 2R. That same itself here also. Why? Because you can see that these two edges are like this. This is one of the edges. Okay. So here also you can see that this is A by 2, this is A by 2, and hence it is what? A equals 2R. That expression you will get. Okay. Hence the relation between A and R in the case of hexagonal cross structure is equal to A equal to 2R. So the things are clear now. Now we can solve the APF. Okay. So the value of APF equals 4 by 3 pi r cube multiplied with the number of atoms. Give me. Pradeep says that it is 12. What about others' opinion? Effective number of atoms. Viranji says that 6. Which I have to write? 6 or 12? Yes, we know that 6 is the effective number of atoms, isn't it? 3 body centered atoms. 12 corner atoms are shared by 6 unit cells, hence 2, and then 2 n centered atoms are shared by 2 unit cells, hence the total answer is 6. So that is 6 divided by volume of unit cell. Yes, volume of unit cell is already known here. That is what? 3 to root 3 by 2 into 1.63 into A cube. Okay, that is the volume of unit cell, isn't it? That A cube can again be converted in terms of what? R. Okay, in terms of R we can again convert. Okay, so what is the value then? Yes, that is, we can write that as, 2R the whole cube. That is 8R cube. Am I right? Eight R cube. Okay. So answer is what? Again, you will get the same answer. It is familiar to what? That is 0.74 is the answer. This same answer you got in the case of which one? Space centered cubic structure. Got it? Yes. Yeah. 74% is fully packed. So how much is the vacant spaces? 25, 26 percentage is vacant there. Got it. Yes. Rohan, I think you are a new student, right? Yeah, okay. Have you gone through the recorder session? Yeah, okay, fine, fine. If you have any doubts, you can ask me through mail or through WhatsApp number. Okay. No, no, no need, no need. No need of going for that. Okay, Viraj. For the hexagon, only one type of model is there. That is this one. Not simple hexagon, body center hexagon. That is not there. Okay. We know that only the simple hexagonal system is there. Okay. Yeah. Now we are. This chapter is over. Now in the previous class we discussed one expression in by using the Avogadro number. Can you recollect that? Yeah, that is the Avogadro mass of Avogadro number of atoms, Na number of atoms is equal to A gram. That is atomic weight. Yeah. Next is what is the mass of one atom? You know that is A by Na. Mass of n number of atoms. A by Na multiplied with n. This is one expression, isn't it? Mass of n number of atoms. Next is we learn what? Yeah, that is we know the definition of density. That is what is that? Rho is equal to mass by volume. So from that also we can find out the mass. So that means what? Mass of atom is equal to density into volume. In the case of a cubic cell, the volume is what? Rho into A cube. Isn't it? Yeah. So A cube rho will give you the mass of atoms there. Mass of n number of atoms there. Okay. So these two expressions we can equate. Hence, we got one expression. A cube rho is equal to A by Na into n. So this is one expression. Okay. Yes. In the previous class, I explained that thing with the help of that fuel filling, right? When you fill the fuel at the midnight, means what? It will be more denser. That means what? In 1 liter of fuel, there's more count of what hydrocarbons will be there. Why? Because that mass depends upon temperature. When you boil the water, what happens? The molecules will jump, isn't it? Similarly, when you fill the fuel at afternoon or morning session, what will happen? Yes, these molecules are getting heated up and this will get jump out. So what will happen? Only the liquid will into pour into the tank, isn't it? The mass of hydrocarbon will be less. That means density will be less. Density means what? If you fill up 1 liter means how much mass is there? That is what we call as density. Mass by volume. Per volume, how much mass is there? That is density. Rohan, clear? Okay, fine. Now let us go do one problem based on this one. Listen carefully. While doing the problem, you have to do certain things. While reading the question itself, listen carefully. While reading the question itself, you have to mark out what are the important tips you got from that question. For example, copper has an FCC structure, so you have to write in your paper FCC. Okay. Next is determine its density. So is equal to question mark. If the atomic weight is okay, A is equal to 63.5 gram. Don't forget to write unit. Atomic radius. How will you represent atomic radius? Notation. R. R equals 1.287 angstrom. So this angstrom and this gram is under the same unit? No. We have to convert this angstrom into what? Centigrade system, CGS system. Okay. So 1 angstrom is equal to how much centimeter? 10 raised to minus 8 centimeter. That will not be given in your question paper. You must know this conversion. Got it? 1 meter is equal to how much centimeter? Okay, 10 square. Fine. Question is, then 1 angstrom is equal to how much meter? Before that, 1 minute. 1 centimeter is equal to how much meter? One meter is equal to 10 square centimeter. That is known to us, isn't it? Then my question is 1 centimeter is equal to then how much? 1 centimeter is equal to 1 by 10 square meter. That means what? 10 raised to minus 2 meter. Am I right? That means 0.01 meter. Isn't it? That means what? When the conversion is from lower unit to a higher unit, then number of zeros will increase or decrease. That means the decimal point will increase, right? Decimal part will increase, isn't it? Decimal part will increase. Yes. That means after the point, the decimal part will increase. That is here, 10 raised to minus 2. That means what? 0.01. In the case of meter to centimeter, that is from higher to lower. What you can see? Yes. Before the unit, the 0 will be added. 0, 0, 100, isn't it? Like that you can see. That means the value will be high if you convert from higher to lower. The value will be less if you convert from lower to higher. You can see that 10 raised to minus 2 is lower value. Similarly, question is, please convert this 1 angstrom into meter. Will the count increases or decreases? 10 raised to minus 10. Can all of you agree with that? Yes, you have to add how much? Plus 10 raised to minus 2 you have to add, isn't it? Yes, that means what? 10 raised to minus 10. That means is it decreases or increases? Yes, the value is decreasing, isn't it? The value is decreasing. 10 raised to minus 10 is lesser than 10 raised to minus 8. Clear to all? That is more count of zeros will be there. Yes. Yeah. So these are the things. 1 minute. Once again, we can read the question. So the copper is an FCC structure. Determine its density. Atomic weight is given 63.5 gram, and then atomic radius R is equal to 1.287 into 10 raised to minus 8 centimeter. Okay. So you have to find out density. How can I find out density? Yes, we know the expression A cube rho equals A by Na into N, isn't it? So how? A cube rho equals A by Na into N. That you have to write. Then you have to represent the value. What is the value of the rho? That you have to find out. A cube. How can I find out A cube? Give me a clue to find out. Think, all of you please think. Viranji says that 4R by root 2. Yes, it is given there. It is an FCC structure. And we know the relationship between A and R. Isn't it? Yes. A equals 4R by root 2. Yeah. By means of this, we can find out the value of A there. 4 into R value is given there. 1.287 into 10 raised to minus 8 divided by root 2. You will get the value of A. Then don't forget to take the cube of this one. Then only it will satisfy A cube. Okay. So that part is over. Value of A is given there. What is the value of Na? 6.02 into 10 raised to minus 10 raised to 23. Right? 6.02 into 10 raised to 23 number of atoms. Okay. Next is, what is the value of small n? What is the effective number of atoms in the case of FCC structure? Pradeep says that it is 4. Can all of you agree with that? Yes, we know that the effective number of atoms in this case is equal to 4 there. Okay, so value of n is equal to 4. Then you will get the value of density. Can you do that? Okay, next is Then please read the question and give me the notation. Please type the notation. While reading, you have to type the notation. Calculate number of atoms. So what you have to write? N equals question mark. Next is, yes, per unit cell of a metal having the lattice parameter of 2.88 angstrom. What will you have to write? Yes, A equals, don't forget to write unit, 2.88 angstrom. Convert it. 2.88 into 10 raised to minus 8 unit. 10 raised to minus 8 centimeter. Why I take centimeter there? Because the rest of the units are in CGS system. So no need to convert that into meter. Okay, fine. Next is, what is the density then? Density rho is given there. Rho equals, 7.87 gram per centimeter cube. And atomic weight, A is given there. Yes, 55.85. Yes. Can you find out the value of A? Sorry, N? Yeah, everything is given there. A is given there, rho is given there, and capital A is also given there, isn't it? So A cube rho is equal to A by Na into small n. That small n can be easily find out. Clear to us? Yes. Now we can move to the next chapter. Miller condition. So we know that the center of the atoms are joined by means of dash. The center of the atoms are joined by means of dash. Yes, space lattices. Space lattices. Okay. That we know. That is for study purposes. We are drawing this one. Next is, say I am going to design a chassis or design a bottle. Okay. Which is a rectangular bottle. And this is placed among the, sometimes it is placed along through the book, or sometimes it is placed along with some other dress. Okay, so lots of compressive loads will be there. Okay, lots of problems will also be there. So while designing that bottle, we have to take care about the material. So the material study is with the help of what? With the help of this arrangement of atoms and those things. Okay. So thing is that sometimes these atoms or this plane of atoms has a tendency to drift in this direction or slip in this direction. Okay. And that plane of atoms has a tendency to slip. Sometimes this plane of atoms, this plane of atoms has a tendency to slip in this direction. So we have to give some name to this certain plane, and we have to give some name to this direction. Am I right? Then only very easily we can quote that yes, aluminium, the critical planes are so and so, the critical directions are so and so. So the what is the benefit? Yes, we can make what we can make certain structures there, so that it will prevent the blockage. Got it? Sorry, it will block the slippage. Okay. So for that, for naming this plane as well as direction, the Miller put forward Miller indices for plane and direction. No. That is different. Slip plane and slip direction. How I can name that slip plane and slip direction? With the help of Miller indices. Naming is only by Miller indices. The slip plane and slip direction are obtained with the help of certain metallurgical studies. Okay, I want to name that so that another scientist need not to study. If the name is there for that for material means okay, very easily another scientist can easily quote that yes, with a reference to the scientist number A, yes, these are the slip planes. For that we want a name. That naming is done by Miller. Got it? Yes. Hope it is clear to all. What is the application of this Miller indices? Now we can move. Miller indices for direction and Miller indices for planes are there. And that is so simple also. In the case of a cubic cell, there exist three integers. Let me take a whiteboard. Three integers are there. That means three numerical values. Okay. In the case of planes and as in the case of direction, yes, these are represented by means of three integers. And how will you differentiate? With the help of the bracket used for its enclosure. In the case of plane, it is closed by means of parenthesis, curved bracket, H, A, L, like this. In the case of direction, it is represented by means of square bracket, H, A, L. This is how we can find out, or it is represented the direction or plane. It will not write. They will not write the direction or plane. We have to understood it with the help of these brackets. If it is a curvy bracket means that is for plane. If it is a square bracket is that is for direction. Clear? Okay. Next is if it is a higher value, say 2, 4, 8. How can you simplify this one? 1, 2, 4. Can I do like that? Yes. If this higher value is there means you can simplify it by how? By dividing it with a common factor. Got it? If a higher value is there means you can divide it by means of a common factor. By means of 2 you have to divide. Is it clear to all? Can all of you follow me? 2, 4, 8 can be reduced to 1, 2, 4. Okay. Next one doubt is I am going to ask. Listen carefully. I am drawing a cube here. This is my x-axis. Always we are using this notation. This axis will always be our x-axis. Okay. And this is the y-axis. In other textbooks, different notations are given there. but we are following this one. So it is better you have to follow this notation. Okay, this is Z. Okay, fine. And I am going to name the coordinates. This is the origin. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Fine. Next is, what is the value of x at this point? 1. What is the value of yeah, that is known to us. What is the value of or which is the point where the y is equal to 1? Which is the point where y is equal to 1? Pradeep says that 3. Yes, along through the y-axis you have to check. You can see that this is the point where y is equal to 1. Where is the point when z is equal to 1? Can all of you follow me? Only if you are answering there. Yeah, 7 is the point. 7 is the point. Okay. Next is, okay, fine. I want to mark x equals 1, y equals 1. How can I mark? That point will be where? That means 1, 1. Rohan asked me why, how y is equal to 1. See, 1 minute, please, please. This, which is the y-axis, Rohan? This is my y-axis. Okay. And then here we know that from O to 3 is on which axis? Is on y-axis. So when y is equal to 1 means what is, which is the point? 3 is the point. Rohan? Then z is equal to 1. Z is equal to 1 means where is the point? You have to check z axis. Z is equal to 1 means that means it is 7. Got it? Here I am drawing only one unit cell. That's why it takes the 7 there. Okay. Now, next is you have to find out what will be the point in that cube drawn there if x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 1. Yeah. How can we find out that? You have to draw what? So first x is equal to 1. From the origin, you have to draw x is equal to 1. So I have to reach where? X is equal to 1 means you have to reach where? Here. Next is, from this point, you have to draw what? Y is equal to 1 there. Isn't it? That means here. This is the point representing 1, 1, 0. Can I say? What does this 0 represent? No. Z axis. X, Y, Z. Is there any value for Z? No value is there for Z because this is the point, isn't it? So please mark 1, 1, 1. Pradeep says that it is 5. Viraji also says it is 5. How it is got that? From x is equal to 1 here, y is equal to 1 here, z is equal to 1 here. This is the point 1, 1, 1. What is the value of 4 then? Pradeep, Viraji, please wait. What is the value of 4 there? Give me x, y, z value. Others, please give me. Okay, Pradeep says that it is 1, 0, 1. Yeah. Naga says that it is 0, 1, 1. Viraji also says that 0, 1, 1. Okay. What about others' opinion? Saurav also agree with that. Yes. What about others? I think you can't enter. Please check. Please once again listen. From O to 3. What is the answer? It is 1. Y is equal to 1. Okay. And from then, there it is moving to here. Isn't it? From there it is moving to there. Okay. That means what? Yeah. That is Z is equal to 1 there. So this point value is what? 0, 1, 1. What is the value of 6 then? Okay. 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay. Yes. Pradeva and Pradeep. Two are there, isn't it? Both are same people or different people? Oh, okay, 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 fine. Have you gone through the recorded session? Yeah, okay, fine. Yes, okay, good. If you have any doubt, you can ask me through WhatsApp or through mail, okay? I got confused on seeing your names there. And Nemai, is it clear? Yeah, okay, fine. So what is the answer then? Yeah, we know that it is 1 and 0, then again 1. 1, 0, 1 is the right answer. Okay, fine. Now you are on the right track. Next is, I am going to, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay. I take an angle 45 degrees. This is what? This line represents what? Yes, this line represents the direction, right? This line represents the direction at an angle 45 degrees. If I if I draw a line here, will the angle vary? No, angle will not have any difference, isn't it? So the is this 248 and 124 affect the direction? Yes, 248 and 124, will it affect the direction? If the length increases, will it affect the direction? No, it will never, isn't it? Got it? So that is one speciality of direction. In the case of planes, is 248 enclosed in what? Enclosed in what? Yeah, curved bracket. 124 is both the same. That means this is one and this is another one. Is both the same? Never. Both are differed, isn't it? Both are differed. Got it? So the multiples may not be same. Multiples or division may not be same in the case of plane, but no problem in the case of direction. Clear to all? Now we can check how to draw the Miller indices for direction and Miller indices for plane. Okay, I think we can stop for today. On the next class, we will discuss how to draw the Miller indices for direction and Miller indices for plane. Okay. Okay, bye. Okay, bye all. See you next class. Good night. Uh, I still haven't got the answers to the first test. Well, if you are at 10, please do it as early as possible. Okay, because next week there will be one test. Not today. That is after the next week class, there will be one test. Before that, you please complete it. Okay, bye all. Latecomers also. Rohan and Pradeepa, please do it. No, it's perfect. I gave the message there, isn't it? Okay, bye all.